The Gulf of Mexico, vast, mysterious, and often misunderstood. But what if I told you that this body of water, thousands of miles away from Jamaica, holds the power to shape our island's future? Its impact on climate, trade, and even the survival of our coral reefs is far more significant than you might think. Let's explore the untold connection between the Gulf and Jamaica. You might just be shocked by what you learn. First, what exactly is the Gulf of Mexico? It's not just a large body of water. It's a sprawling ocean basin, a marginal sea of the Atlantic, stretching over 1.6 million square kilometers. Bordered by the United States, Mexico, and Cuba, this giant marine hub influences the climate, economy, and ecosystems of regions far beyond its shores. Imagine this. Every ripple in its waters carries echoes that reach Jamaican shores. US President Donald Trump has thrust it into the spotlight. As part of his American First agenda, he wants to rename it the Gulf of America. Renaming the Gulf of Mexico within US boundaries could be implemented without international agreement, but it is not a unilateral decision globally. Trump wants his Secretary of the Interior to take appropriate actions within 30 days to implement the name change. The Gulf is a thriving hub for marine biodiversity, producing fish, crustaceans, and seafood critical for the region. But when disaster strikes, like the infamous oil spills, it sends shockwaves through marine life, impacting Jamaica's fisheries and tourism. Think of our fishermen returning with empty nets and our visitors avoiding beaches. These events aren't distant stories. They're threats to our way of life. Did you know that after the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010, it took years for fisheries in the Gulf to recover? Now imagine the ripple effects such an incident could have on Jamaica's economy. The Gulf plays a starring role in climate dynamics that impact Jamaica. As global warming accelerates, sea levels rise, threatening low-lying Caribbean nations. The Gulf's warming waters fuel hurricanes, making them stronger and more destructive. Remember the devastation of Hurricane Gilbert or Hurricane Ivan. Their intensity stems in part from the Gulf's volatile waters. Scientists have identified that warmer waters in the Gulf act like fuel, supercharging hurricanes before they strike. When we see the destructive aftermath in Jamaica, it's clear that the Gulf's influence extends far beyond its borders. Beyond nature, the Gulf of Mexico is an economic artery for Jamaica. Many of our goods travel through Gulf trade routes. Ports in Louisiana or Texas handle Jamaican imports and exports, from petroleum to manufactured goods. Imagine the chaos if these supply chains were disrupted. Prices soaring, shelves emptying, and businesses grinding to a halt. In 2021, a strike at a major Gulf port caused weeks of delays for Caribbean-bound shipments, underscoring how vital this trade route is for Jamaica's economic stability. Whether it's the fuel that powers our vehicles or the goods on supermarket shelves, so much depends on the Gulf's uninterrupted flow. There's another invisible danger flowing from the Gulf. Lionfish, an invasive species wreaking havoc on our coral reefs. These predators consume native fish populations and disrupt marine ecosystems vital to our economy and environment. It's a silent invasion with profound consequences for Jamaica's tourism and biodiversity. The lionfish problem started decades ago when they were accidentally released from aquariums in Florida. Since then, they've spread rapidly, with no natural predators in the Caribbean. In Jamaica, efforts like lionfish hunting tournaments are helping to combat this menace, but the battle is far from over. But it's not all doom and gloom. Collaborative efforts between Gulf nations and the Caribbean have birthed solutions. Programs like shared fisheries management and renewable energy projects promise a sustainable future. Jamaica is tapping into these opportunities, working with Gulf neighbors to bolster resilience. For example, initiatives under the Gulf and Caribbean Fisheries Professional Development Program have trained Jamaican fishermen in sustainable practices, ensuring a balance between economic need and environmental preservation. Let's make this personal. Meet Michael, a fisherman. For decades, he relied on a steady catch of snapper and parrotfish to feed his family and support his community. But in recent years, his hauls have dwindled, not because of overfishing, but because of changing ocean currents and invasive species linked to the Gulf of Mexico. Michael's story is not unique. Across Jamaica, countless families depend on healthy oceans and predictable weather patterns, both of which are influenced by the Gulf. Here are 4 bonus facts. 1. The Gulf's Mississippi River drains 41% of the continental United States. This immense influx of fresh water impacts salinity levels and ecosystems even in distant Caribbean waters. 2. Did you know the Gulf of Mexico is home to over 4,000 oil rigs? While these are economic lifelines for some, they're potential environmental disasters for everyone. 3. The Sigsbee Deep, the Gulf's lowest point, is over 14,000 feet deep. An underwater marvel, yet a potential hotspot for environmental changes. 4. The Gulf's hurricanes influence global weather patterns, creating ripple effects that can extend to every corner of the Atlantic. So, why should Jamaica care about the Gulf of Mexico? Because our lives, economy, and future are intertwined with its waters. The Gulf is not just a distant sea. It's a lifeline, a threat, and an opportunity rolled into one. Staying informed and engaged isn't just wise, it's survival. The next time you look out at Jamaica's turquoise waves, remember, our shores, our trade, our climate, and even our fish are connected to the Gulf of Mexico. And in that connection lies our story, our struggle, and our strength.